Everyone, it's Simon Keeling here at weatherweb.net. Thanks again for watching. As it's a Friday, it's our usual long-range update. We've got the Japanese modelling, which I'll show you in just a moment. Looks as if temperatures are going to be rising through this weekend and early into next week, but then we see a fall in temperatures probably from Tuesday onwards across Scotland, across the whole of the country from Wednesday onwards, and then a bit of a question mark over the end of the week. My feeling is we go into more unsettled conditions into next weekend. But let's see what the longer term holds in store. So this is the week one forecast from the JMA. It's the 500 millibar heights, and you notice first of all this big ridge look here that's across the UK. It's that that's bringing us a high pressure, so exactly as we would expect to see. Week two, which then takes us forward from next Friday, so that's going to be Friday the 27th, right the way through until following Friday, which is actually the following Thursday, which will take us through to Thursday the 5th of October. Goodness me, where is the year going? And notice what's happened here. Look, our ridge has kind of been squeezed away up towards the north, so we're getting high pressure across Greenland, northern parts of Newfoundland, and what that's doing is it's bringing in a northerly flow down through the country, which generates the trough that is trying to be picked up on by various different models. So we get a trough out here in the Atlantic, we get a strengthened jet stream, and then we get a trough here, all caused by the colder air coming south. Now, where that trough is determines what happens to the weather during the course of this part of this week. So at the moment, I'm going to go for it turning more unsettled, and we've got some backup of that from the CFS, which I'll show you in just a mo. And then on to weeks 3 to 4, which takes us from the 6th of October through until the 19th of October, and basically pretty useless really. It just shows us a flow near normal conditions around the hemisphere. Look at that. I mean, that really is a zonal flow that's taking place there, which basically means the normal east to westerly flow around the whole of the northern hemisphere during that week. Of course, that's smoothing things out too much. It's not picking up on the subtleties, but unusual to see such a normal flow around the hemisphere. So let's zoom in a little bit, see what the JMA says in terms of details. This is the sea level pressure for the coming week. You notice high pressure here, look, through the British Isles. Then we look at rainfall, dry for all of us. And then we look at the second week. So this is, just to remind you, running forwards from next Friday. So from the 27th through to the 5th, wasn't it? 5th of October. And look, much lower than normal pressures across the British Isles, trying to show us a more unsettled week during this period. And along with that, look, rainfall around or just above normal, which is what you'd expect to see with that westerly. So trying to break things down at the end of the month into the early part of October. And then into week 2, taking us from the 6th of October through until the 19th of October, and pressure, well, exactly what you'd expect to see, really. It's exactly normal, which is what that 500 pattern was showing. So it's got slightly lower than normal pressures across the north, slightly higher than normal pressures across the south, but the flow dominated by a westerly, which would bring mixed conditions, most of the rain towards the north and west, less down towards the south. And the rainfall forecast backs that up too, with near normal rainfall across the whole of the UK. So despite looking at that initially from the JMA, thinking it doesn't give us much steerage, actually it kind of does, because it takes us into this more mixed pattern. But what about the CFS? Well, CFS week 1 is giving us high pressure look across the British Isles, higher than normal heights. Week 2 changes things. Week 2, from the 27th through to the 30th, puts low than normal pressures up towards the, or low than normal heights towards the north, which would have low pressure, higher than normal down to the south. This would bring the jet stream and strengthen the jet stream sort of through there like so. But what it would do is bring us mixed weather. So the north and the west would see most of the rain. The south would be drier, although there will be some rain there. So actually, I think this is going to be a fairly normal to mixed week across most areas. So that's the very end of September, early part of October. Now, into week 3, from the 4th of October through to the 10th of October, look, it built a trough out in the Atlantic. Here's the high look that the JMA was on about. So it's a similar pattern. There's our trough with our area of low pressure. Here's the ridge across Europe with higher pressure down here. More of a southwesterly flow, but staying mixed through this period. With most rain affecting Scotland, Ireland, western parts of England. Again, higher pressure always down towards the south and the southeast, so drier conditions down to the south. It could be that the south actually is relatively dry through this time, but we get that lower pressure towards the west and the north, and this looks entirely possible, particularly since it's in such good agreement with the JMA. And then week 4, right at the end of the period, look, it builds that ridge back into Europe. Again, this entirely possible. That would put the high here, and it would bring us back into more of a south-southeasterly flow. A trough out here in the Atlantic, ridge here, so the flow doing something like that. That would be our trough line out in the Atlantic, which may, from time to time, put some rain across western Scotland and western parts of Ireland. But for most of the UK, eastern Scotland, eastern Ireland, and also running down through England and Wales, it would be dry, and it would become warm too in the east. Although, actually, very similar to this weekend, we could find a fair amount of low cloud out towards the west. So, signs for October, not looking too bad. And I just quickly, before we end, want to just reiterate this temperature drop that's on its way this week. Look, we see those rising temperatures getting into the mid-20s. This is for Manchester, by the way. So getting into the mid-20s, look, by Monday. And then we see this sharp fall-off in temperatures towards the end of the week. And that's where we get our more unsettled conditions coming in as well towards the end of the week. So a bit of a shock on the way from Wednesday onwards. Plenty to be going on with. I'll leave you with that for now, but don't forget weatherweb.net to get free of charge by the adverts you see around the screen. It's by you coming back, using the site and using the adverts that keeps us free of charge. So thank you for doing that. Whatever you're doing, have a great day and keep the sun shining. Bye for now.